Hello and welcome to the video. Within this video we'll be looking at the new Fermzilla collection container, which at this point is set to be offered as an option, but I would not be surprised if this becomes the standard container, as this new container features some interesting differences to previous models. The Fermzilla range of fermenters are by a long way the most sold beer fermentation vessels in the world, so as such anything new is always very interesting. This video starts with lots of information from me, and then I share some very recent interview footage with the one and only Key from Kegland, where he shares his thoughts and information about the container too. So let's get to it. Here is a quick recap on the previous container. It is 1 litre in capacity, and the clear body portion of the product is made from Triton, which is a heat tolerant grade that can even withstand boiling liquids and is both BPA and plasticizer free. The fact that you can clean it in a dishwasher is also very convenient too. It has 2 ports, one either side, that are suitable for use with carbonation caps, meaning you can purge the container to remove oxygen, making it very useful for dry hopping or adding other items in for flavour without the risk of oxidation. These ports also allow you to perform other useful tasks like carbonating, for example, or oxygenating. This container is also supplied with an impact-resistant HDPE lid, allowing you to cover the contents and store them in a fridge for future use. Furthermore, this container can also use this lid, which makes it suitable for the latest generation of Fermzilla conicals that use tri-clamp or tri-clover fittings. From this point onwards in the video I'll be using the term tri-clamp rather than tri-clover, but please understand that these are essentially the same thing, and tri-clover is simply a brand name for tri-clamp fittings. Let's now bring in the new container. This new container offers a smaller volume of 600ml, which I believe will suit more people, as frankly you will have 340ml less losses, and 660ml is certainly enough for its purpose in volume. This container is made from the same material as the previous one, so as such has all of the before-mentioned benefits of Triton. It still also has the 2 ports and the same functionality too around removing oxygen. Like with the previous versions, there is also a lid, but totally new is the fact that the entire lid is fixed by using a 3H tri-clamp, making it extra airtight and secure. There is also a much larger tri-clamp size than the previous one offered with the Fermzilla tri-conicals, which makes removal even easier, and certainly there was a huge improvement seen as it was when Kegland moved from screw fittings into tri-clamps anyway. The new lid type supplied here is made from the ever-popular engineering plastic polyketone, which offers excellent chemical, temperature and impact resistance, making it very suitable for homebrew and brewing applications in general. This new collection container will be offered as an upgrade part for Fermzilla, of course, but this is also relevant as an upgrade for other fermenters where 2 or 3-inch tri-clamps can be used, like for example the new Brewbill X2. However, you will need to ensure that you are using a suitable butterfly valve due to the new 3-inch opening. So for example, previous Fermzilla triconical models will need to be upgraded with a 3-inch to 3-inch tri-clamp butterfly valve as shown now. Otherwise, quite simply, it's just not going to fit. However, for fermenters with a 2-inch conical exit, like for example the Brewbill X2, owners will need to upgrade to a 3-inch to 2-inch tri-clamp butterfly valve as shown now. Now you might think that you can bypass the need for another butterfly valve by using a 2-inch to 3-inch adapter like this one, but sadly this adds too much height to both the Fermzilla and Brewbill X2 tanks, and this will not allow removal of the container without lifting the fermenter. However, for some other types of fermenters, this could be an option if you have enough height. In conclusion, I feel that it has to be recognised that the inclusion of tri-clamps with the Fermzilla has been a real game changer and has made setup and breakdown of the components, including the bottom container, very easy. In fact, I believe it's fair to say that the bottom container has benefited from this change the most. This new version takes this upgrade improvement change even further though, in a very positive direction, and is certainly a welcome change. In fact, Fermzilla aside, due to the new direction of using tri-clamps, this container is a very useful and worthwhile addition to any conical fermenter that has a tri-clamp fitting at the bottom, as many do. A key benefit here for those with stainless steel fermenters is that it provides a viewing window so you can see your yeast in action. As much as it is fun to watch this, naturally this becomes all the more useful as a quick way of seeing if your yeast has become inactive and has decided to fall asleep at the bottom too. So as such, using a container like this one at the bottom of a stainless steel fermentation vessel certainly opens up great new functionality. I was recently in the US for the Craft Brewers Conference, and shortly after that event I filmed some short interviews with Key of Kegland, which included a short segment about the new collection container, which I'll now share with you to finalise this video. So tell me a little bit about the new container that you've got for the Fermzilla. Well, it's kind of interesting.
Well, this has been,
line.
yeah, it's been this is kind of like one of the final steps in the Fermzilla process. So the Fermzilla, triconical, this has come out pretty recently. So not that long ago, obviously we changed to Clover on the dump valve. So you could literally take this off and remove the entire dump valve from the container. So that was like, very exciting in itself. This was many years in the making to try to get a blow molding machine to make that. It was a very complicated add-on to the blow molding machine to basically reform the base of an already formed tank.
Sure.
So that was kind of exciting. But now also to have this huge 3-inch dump valve. Now, some people probably say, oh, do you need a 3-inch dump valve? And generally speaking, I would say 2-inch if you're just dumping yeast is fine. However, if you're really trying to dry hop using the dump valve, actually 3-inch is kind of like a nice addition, because if you're putting dry hops in here, because a lot of people are concerned about bringing oxygen into the beer, and it's definitely a reasonable and a fair concern for that to be the case. But bringing oxygen into the beer, via the hops is like, one of those things that everyone's concerned about, especially because it's generally one of those things you're doing towards the end of the fermentation process once the yeast has already settled out. So I think the 3-inch enables us to go back and then put things like hops in here, open up the valve. And even though we've got things like the hop bong, which you can attach from the top and do the same thing, this sort of really reduces the hassle, I guess, of having to get another vessel and buy that separately and then get another butterfly valve. And also, if you don't have the headspace using like a chamber or a small fridge or something to put it into, this is a smaller format. So, I think that's kind of a really exciting thing to be able to just, open that, get that huge 3-inch girth, and then hops can actually float up through here and get into the main part of the tank with no resistance. So, that's kind of a nice add-on. And then, of course, now this has got no thread on it. So literally you take that off, you pull this seal, and there's a plastic cap which goes on the top. Basically, it goes on like that. And then you use the same Clover clamp to just clamp it back up. So it's like all... Oh, thanks, Darren. Cheers. So I wasn't really thinking ahead there. Basically put that on and then Clover that on. So it makes a nice yeast storage container if you're repitching. And of course, if you're repitching, once again, just put it straight on there, open up the valve, and away you go. So there's very little handling of yeast from vessel to vessel or anything like that. And, being able to purge the oxygen out of the hops. Now, this is a new one out of box, but typically if you are going to be purging the hops, you'd probably take these off and then put like a PCO 1881, carbonation cap on there. And then also maybe on this one, the reason we put 2 inlets and outlets is typically a lot of people seem to be using the PCO 1881 PRV valve on here as well. It's also an extra safety device, I suppose. So just in case, we do have the instructions to always turn that shut. And then remove this immediately. Don't leave yeast fermenting in here for obvious reasons. You're creating a bit of a bomb, but that PRV on the collection container will prevent that. But certainly this is a really exciting thing. This is probably the last change we'll make to the Fermzilla for some time. So some people buy a lot of the Kegland gear and we bring out a new model, and then they're always catching up, I suppose. Yeah. But at least one thing I can say is you're going to buy this and we'd have no plans to change it anytime soon, because we're literally running out of ways we can improve this vessel. It's sort of like, now being what it is, I think it's getting pretty close to the perfect PET conical container.
Awesome. Well, that's really great information, Key. I really appreciate your time on this. And as always, very nice to see you.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Dave. Much appreciated. All right, see ya.
I do hope that you found this video useful, informative and interesting. If so, why not consider liking and subscribing? For further support, you can join the channel's Facebook group, and if you would like to support the channel, then check out the channel's merchandise store, as all profits go back into the channel. Until next time, happy brewing!